A warm welcome to all my lovely audience on Icy Tales today. My name is Hiba and I am your host for this session. Today on Icy Tales, we're going to be having discussions on manifestation, attraction, and everything in between. Join me in welcoming Mr. Avinash Anand Singh, who is a transformational coach. Welcome, sir. How are you and how does it feel to be here?
Thank you so much for inviting. It's an honor to be here as well, and I'm looking forward to the conversation. Yeah.
Same, sir. Like you say, looking forward. I'm also looking forward. So, without holding up, can we get started?
Please go ahead. Yeah.
Yes. So when I was researching about you, I saw that you were a transformational coach. For some of them, including me, this term was very peculiar because I never heard, I didn't know about this. Tell us what exactly it is to be a transformational coach.
Okay. So, coaching primarily is a method through which you help people to live a better life. It can be a career coach, it can be a life coach, it can be a health coach. So, those are very common terms. Transformational coach is someone, who brings a deep down change inside the mindset, and people just do not make tiny changes. The changes are very very huge and expansive, right? So our work is that how do we help people uh, change the core of who they are in their deepest level of their mind,
Right.
which then helps them to transform in every aspect of life. So it's a complete transformation. It's like you take the raw gold and you no, not a raw gold would not be the right example, but you take the seed and the seed becomes a full-fledged tree. That's transformation completely.
Yes.
So that's what we do in our work. That's why we call it as transformational coach. Yeah.
And when did you decide that you want to be a transformational coach?
I started my journey in 2014. That's when I launched my venture, my company, and I decided. But the name came a bit later. But 2014 is when the official journey started of coaching people. And I realized that I'm not keen in just making people get results which are small and tiny. Like you can talk to somebody and they'll feel positive.
Yes.
But I wanted to do something which really impacts people. It's like, when they meet me, it should be before and after, like before me and after me, meeting me. That's what. 2014 is when I started this journey. And in a couple of years, I think I had the clarity of exactly what I want to do for myself. Yeah.
Very nice to see that you discovered what you truly wanted. So great job on that,
Absolutely.
sir.
Sure.
Moving on to our next question. I saw on your Instagram bio, you stated something about you teach people about the science of manifestation. Can you elaborate on that and tell us something about it?
Sure. So look, manifestation is a process in which primarily means that, the life we are living right now, the events which are happening, these are not just random events happening. We just do not go through life and, something just drops in, like maybe some situations, job opportunities. But now we know with a lot of science in place as well, and also the ancient wisdom talked about this, that we are an active co-creator in the journey of life, right? So we are living life, but simultaneously we're also creating life, right? And this creation is what we call as manifestation, when we consciously choose to create something for ourselves, right? So manifestation is a process which we all carry out. Most of us unknowingly, some which we do knowingly. So when you set a goal for yourself and you say, this is my goal and I want to manifest this goal in my life, and obviously it requires physical effort as well, right? But that's the process of manifestation. So this term became popular when there was a book called as The Secret, which was written by Rhonda Byrne, which came in early 2000, first half the, I think 2004 or 5, that's the time when the book launched. And that book brought this concept much more in popularity. But before that, if you look at the ancient Indian, tradition and the literature, this has been talked about everywhere, that, the thoughts we have, these are extremely powerful, and thoughts becomes things, it becomes reality. So what you're thinking right now, it has a role to play in your future. Tomorrow what will happen is linked to what you're thinking right now. So that's what manifestation is all about. Yeah.
And how closely related is manifestation and the law of attraction?
So manifestation is, in a way, so they can be used in a synonymous way as well, because both are the same concept. But manifestation is possibly when the thing you want for yourself happens, right?
Yes.
But when the things happen, in between, there's a lot of process, which is what we call as law of attraction, right? So what is law of attraction? Typically, we live in a world which is now, we understand from quantum physics. If you read quantum physics, this is now clearly evident that we live in a world which is made up of energy, right? Everything is vibrating. If you see a scientist, if you talk to a scientist, they would say, look at the physical matter, and the matter is made up of atoms, right? And you go inside the atoms, you have subatomic particles. You go inside it, you have at the deepest level empty space,
Mhm.
and in the empty space is energy vibrating. So nothing which exists in physical reality is not energy, it's not vibrating, right? Even like we are talking right now, what we're listening to is the sound waves. When I speak, there's a sound waves which comes out. What I'm seeing something is I'm catching the photons, which are nothing but again the particles of light, right? So we live in a world which is vibratory world, right? Now, as per my thinking, as per my emotion, what I'm feeling, what I'm thinking, it creates a certain level of energy in my system, right?
Right.
And this energy then, in result, attracts similar energy from the universe outside as well. So a famous, if you look at in the school days, we used to hear that, the birds of same feather flock together, right? And if you look at the society at large, people with similar qualities comes together. Like people who are fitness freak, they'll be in that group. They'll never be with people who are, fat and obese, with all due
Right.
respect to them. Similarly, people who are very religious would be in that community. So what is happening is people with similar qualities comes in one kind of group, and
Right.
that's law of attraction. So law of attraction is the process through which, as you move through life, if you are very clear what you want for yourself, if you are having a thoughts and emotion of certain level, it attracts all that in your journey. Eventually, it leads you to an outcome, which is your goal, and you say, "Oh, my goal got manifested." So typically, this is how law of attraction is a process. Manifestation may be the end result of it.
Thank you very much for that very nice explanation. I got my
My
doubts
pleasure.
clarified by talking to you. Thank you so much, sir.
My
Also,
pleasure.
when I was researching about you, I saw that you have trained about 15,000 students in 5 different countries. So I'm sure you would
Right.
have had some learning experience when you travel to these countries. So tell us something about that and what did you learn while doing all this?
So typically, these students, when we say students, these are people who are working in companies, they're entrepreneurs, but because they go through the program, we call them students. But 5 countries typically was online. It was not traveling to these countries because when COVID hit, it came in, and our work was spread in India. We were covering around 2 cities in India. And when the COVID started, we had to then move to online. And when we moved to online, as they say that there is a blessing in everything. So for us, typically also the work pushed to the different countries as well.
Yeah.
So we had people from, US, UK, Australia, Canada. They're also approaching us, about the work. And then we had a batches going short and long term batches all started as well, right?
Yeah.
So typically, the learning has been that obviously one was that when you interact with people at different, countries, different culture, you realize that at the deep level of, what we call as human being, at the deepest level, people requirement is almost the same, right? At the deepest level, we all want to have love. We all want to be positive. We all want to be happy. We all want to have abundance. We all want to be successful. We all want to be significant. So in that way, if you look at human beings, and this for me was a learning as well, that all of us typically want the same thing.
Correct.
And still, we end up fighting, we end up, maybe harming people, not realizing that the happiness I want for myself is also what you want for yourself eventually.
Yeah.
So the need is the same. Maybe the means to achieve the needs differs for people to people. But once we realize that the needs are same for everybody, then the question is, okay, I want my happiness for me, but can I also in some way help you get your happiness as well?
Right.
And if you start thinking from that angle, I think we can really transform the world into a beautiful world, because then suddenly the fight, the jealousy, the greed all goes away, and we realize that there is a common link we all human beings are connected to. So for me, that was one of the learnings which I had, that okay, everybody wants the same thing. There are no bigger expectation for people, but there's a fundamental, the requirement is the same for everybody. Yeah,
First of all, I must say I really like your optimistic approach towards everything you're doing. You said if one person does this, the world will become a happier place. So really nice
absolutely.
optimism. Great job on that, sir. What
Thank you.
advice do you have for youngsters to stay motivated? Because nowadays everyone is like they can't do this and they get demotivated very, very easily. So on your
Yeah.
end, what advice would you have for youngsters and teenagers?
Right. So, okay, today in life, more than ever, I think, taking care of taking care of your personal health, physical, emotional, mental is your task. You
Yes.
cannot outsource that job. Most people, they have outsourced it. They're waiting for somebody from outside to help them motivate, help them be inspired, which fundamentally is the wrong thing because if you're waiting for somebody else to motivate you, they're waiting for them to somebody else to motivate them. So it's
Right.
like a beggar asking a beggar for something doesn't happen. Number one. Number two is I feel if people understand fundamentally, that motivation or inspiration or being in a positive state to a large extent is a function of the mind,
Mm-hmm.
right? Is a function of the mind. Now, for example, I'm sure you would have, a refrigerator in your house, right? Now, if you have kept all the healthy food in your refrigerator, and I say, Hiba, can you just at night open your refrigerator and see what is there to eat? And if it's all healthy food, guess what? You'll only eat those food and you'll become healthy eventually over a period of
Yeah.
time. But imagine if you have also put all the junk food. There are a lot of cheese and burgers and pizzas and everything, chocolates. Now, if you're going to eat that food over a period of time, obviously the results are not very good, right?
Right.
Similarly, what you have to understand is the mind is a container, right? Everybody mind is a container,
Mm-hmm.
including you, me, a beggar, a rich person. Everybody mind is a container.
Right.
The difference is what we are storing in the mind, right? The content of the mind. The content of the mind is eventually what you feel inside yourself. So if I ask you right now, think about a happy moment from your past, something which happened in life which you were happy about. And if you bring that thought right now, if I ask you, Hiba, how are you feeling? You say, I'm feeling positive. Good. Why? In the mind, you brought a content which was a positive nature content, right? So second is understanding that the mind is a container. It holds to content, and the content is what we feel in the body in as an emotion, and which influences the kind of life we live. Now, most people, point number three, the most people, they are not managing the container properly. It's
Okay.
like the water tank on your house, on the roof, on the terrace is open. All dust also comes inside the water tank. Now the water is not drinkable. You have to cover the water tank. So
Right.
most people, they do not realize that they have to have a filter
Mm-hmm.
around the mind container. You cannot let everything enter your mind, randomly. If that's going to happen, you're going to be in a crazy world because today people are there who are thinking, talking in all manner. You cannot be open to everything. So there must be a filter which filters out the content which is coming in your mind, which means can you be selective in choosing what to read, what to hear, whom to talk, what movie to consume. So one is putting the filter. Second is consciously consuming,
Right.
consciously filling the container. So if I want to be positive for next 1 month, then every day for next 1 week minimum, I should be putting content inside which are of higher nature. Reading the right books, watching the right videos, having the right rituals for myself. So if I'm doing that, naturally, my tendency of the mind would be more towards moving towards the positive side. So, for example, you went to a movie, right? And you came back watching the movie, and you notice like next few days you are thinking about the movie only, like this happened, that happened, good or bad, whatever it might be. So that mind became the tendency became in a way that it was thinking about the movie for next few days. So if you train the mind this way for a week, the tendency will be for next few weeks the mind to be positive. 1 month, for next few months the mind will be positive. So if you can create a ritual every day when
Mm-hmm.
you are consciously filling the right content in your mind, right? Eventually, you'll find effortlessly you'll have more positivity inside you because the content is positive. And
Right.
similarly, put negative, you will be effortlessly negative as well. The choice is what are you putting inside? Yeah.
Thank you so much, sir, for telling us this in a very, very nice way, like using the water tank or the filter. You took me back to school, like how our kindergarten teachers used to explain to us. And I must say,
Yeah.
concepts like this should be simplified the way you said. So
Right.
thank you so much.
Right. Right.
We've now come to
My
our
pleasure.
last question, and this question is a very, very, optimistic, positive question. So I'm sure you've achieved many, many milestones in your life, but what are your future goals, and how do you plan on achieving them? Any strategy, anything?
Okay, beautiful, interesting. So my ultimate goal is to touch a billion people, a life of billion people, 1 billion people. in a positive way, obviously through workshops, through videos, through documentaries, through books, So that's the goal by 2030. I want to achieve that, obviously with the help of many, many people as well. The strategy is obviously the path is clear that what we're doing right now, which is conducting workshops, programs, books are in place to come up as well. Let's see. I hope this year, eventually I'll overcome my procrastination to write the book. So obviously the work is clear what you're going to do right now. The strategy is very simple, which is figure out what are you doing, and if that is impacting people, if that is giving results, I think which is also a formula for success as well. Figure out what is working for you. So for me, I know very clear now the work I'm doing is the right work. This is what going to be for me, the work for a lifetime. Once that is, what is working out, the second strategy is to how can you do that at a larger scale in the more optimized way, So that's the idea. How do I impact now people through my workshops at a bigger scale in the more optimized manner, having better resources, better people around me, right? So the strategy is to consistently think about optimizing your resources and how can you maximize the output you have, and if you constantly do that part, eventually you'll get some right methods, right tools, right processes, which can push you towards your vision as well. So it's an ongoing journey, but we are happy that we are at least on the path. And I hope, I think I'm sure, not hope, but I'm certain that we'll achieve our vision as well. Yeah.
And on behalf of the entire team of Icy Tales, we wish you all the very best for all your goals,
Thank you
and
so.
we
Thank you
hope
so
you're
much.
shining bright. Thank you so much,
Thank
sir,
you so
for
much.
giving us your time. I think it was a very, very nice 20 minutes of great conversation. I had so many knowledgeable insights which you shared, which I had no idea about. So thank you so much for giving us your time, sir. I hope you had a good time having a conversation.
Absolutely. Thank you for being a superb host as well. I
Thank you.
love to be here. Thank you so much.